Hello and welcome back to RC Model Reviews Part 2 of a review this time, and it's the Skyzone RC 700D 7-inch Diversity DVR monitor. Part 1's already online. I'll put a link to it in the description of this video in case you missed it. But this is the unit here. This is the little 7-inch monitor with diversity. See, I've got two antennas here. I've got the helical and a clover leaf. It doesn't come with this stand. I wish it did actually. This is a stand that came with my Mobius. It's a really handy little stand for putting this thing on the ground or on top of a vehicle or something when you want to get a nice position for it. Works really well. Just the little bendy arms, you know, you can just bend them into any shape. Excellent. So yeah, Skyzone, maybe you should throw a little tripod in, because as I mentioned in the first review, it does have a tripod mounting screw on the bottom, so you can hook it onto a tripod if you want. Great if you want to fly FPV without glasses, because you just buy yourself a tripod, whack this on. You will need the little base adapter plate for that. Whack this on and then you can just sort of sit there looking at the screen while you fly. In fact, I tried this out on the weekend in full sunlight. Here's what I found. So here we go. Here is the Skyzone FPV monitor. We've got some really dodgy signal going on here at the moment, but you can see the diversity is definitely working. It's flicking backwards and forwards between the antennas. I've got a helical on here and just a cloverleaf on there. So we've got full sunlight at the moment. You can see there's my shadow on the ground, and just look how well the screen performs. I mean, that is such a brilliant picture in full sunlight. You know, I can move around. I've got the sun directly at my back now, and you can still see that perfectly. That is just fantastic. I'm so impressed with the brightness and contrast of the screen, and also the way the receivers work. The center work very well. Look at that picture. It's brilliant. Wonderful. So I'd have to say I give this a bit of a thumbs up. It's not a bad looking piece of kit at all. Okay, so let's talk about the quality of the recordings that this thing does. As far as DVRs go, it's pretty damn good. Some of the cheaper DVRs do a lot of compression. They don't have very good resolution. You get a lot of pixelation, and details like grass and water just become a sort of a horrible blurry patch, and they make the image that you watch much worse than the image you see in your glasses or the image you see on the screen itself. When you go back to look at it, you go, it wasn't that bad. And yeah, it wasn't that bad. They just used too much compression, which is kind of silly because we're talking standard definition video here. And these days you get, you know, 8 gigabyte, 16 gigabyte, 32 gigabyte memory cards, and they'll put nearly a week's worth of recording on one of those with one of these standard definition recorders, because the amount of data you're recording is so low. So please, I really wish these DVR manufacturers would perhaps allow a couple of different bit rates, even if it's a switch or a menu configuration, so you can have, like, you know, economy and high definition, or what you call it, probably fine, they usually call it, much better resolution in terms of the compression, so that we can get some pictures that actually resemble the ones that we see in the glasses or on the screen. The compression really screws things up, and as I say, this is not bad compared to many others, but it could be better. They all could be better. I mean, I spent yesterday, which was the weekend, I recorded countless hours of flying. It felt like countless hours anyway, and I used a 2 gigabyte card, and it was still only 40% full. It still had 60% capacity left after a day's recording. And that's how little memory is required to store video files in standard definition. So you could double the bit rate. That's dramatically improved the quality of the recording, and you'd still get a day's recording on a 2 gigabyte card. So why wouldn't you? I mean, there's no point in over compressing the video as they tend to do. So there's a heads up for Skyzone. Why don't you do that? Make it a HQ DVR that does high quality recordings at standard def. I'd really be keen on one of those. But in the meantime, as I say, hard to beat this thing. This is the best LCD monitor I have seen, bar none. Mind you, I haven't seen them all, but it's the best one I've seen. The other one that I had, the earlier one, which had no diversity, whoops, here we go. That's this one here. I reviewed this. I'll put a link to this one in the description as well. This doesn't have diversity, but it does have the bonus. Remember I mentioned about pros and cons before, that you can flick through the channels using these buttons along the bottom. One thing I got a bit annoyed with on the weekend with this was having to flick these little dip switches down here to change from one model to another if I wanted to capture the video. It's really annoying. And why can't you make soft touch buttons? You know, buttons on here to go up a channel, down a channel, up a band, down a band. Oh, that would be great. Another word of warning, doesn't work with immersion RC 600 milliwatt video transmitters. That's the Fat Shark gear. Doesn't work. Okay, they say it will receive those frequencies, and it will, but you don't get a picture worth watching. It's crap, because there are subcarriers within the video standard, which is like another signal broadcast within the main signal, that are on different frequencies. So when you try and get a good picture of Fat Shark on here, it's got, well, this is what it looks like. It's crap. So yeah, it does cover the Fat Shark band, but you can't use it with Fat Shark gear, honestly. I think the 250 milliwatt or the 100 milliwatt transmitter for some reason does seem to work modestly well, but the 600 milliwatt, forget it. Waste of time, completely not a waste of time. This is for boss cam, this is for the You know, the Chinese, we've got a whole lot of them, Skyzone, Bosscam, all operating on the Chinese type band of frequencies, which is actually wider than the Fat Shark anyway. But if you're going to record your Fat Shark videos, then you're probably going to want to get a Fat Shark receiver and plug it in the AV in, which means you're wasting this diversity, or you just want to get a set of Fat Shark HD dominated video glasses, which got the built-in DVR, and that seems to work pretty well. I don't have one, and I can't afford one, so I'm only going on hearsay there. But there you go. Summary, yeah, I'd buy one. Good value for money, as long as you're not flying Fat Shark. If you're flying anything else, good value for money, and it's essential. It's a must-have if you're doing FPV. You really need one of these. Okay, got questions? Got comments? Got anything to say? Put it in the comment section below this video. And don't forget to check the description of the video. All my review videos, I put extra information in the description so that you can see little bullet points, things I've forgotten to mention in the video itself. That's it. Another part 2 done and dusted. Time for me to get back to the bench.